We've gotten to issue 9, and I'm starting to see a pattern here. It seems as though the covers to each issue, while having elements of what we're going to see in each comic, fail to have anything to do with an actual scene from the comic itself, making them very misleading. For example, this cover shows both Sonic and Sato Sonic, a robotic version of Sonic, both attempting to rescue Sally from a falling safe. While Sato Sonic is in this issue, there is no falling safes. Where's Acme when you need them? Which is too bad, because I would have liked to see the events leading up to Sally laying down on the ground with a safe falling on her head. I mean, that's not something that just happens every day. They've also managed to stuff Tails unnecessarily into the upper corner, putting an S after the hedgehog to make it plural. Because in case you couldn't tell, this issue is going to be about 2 Sonics. Then they have to stuff Robotnik in the upper left corner for God knows what reason, and we absolutely have to have unneeded dialogue on the cover. Yeah, Archie, quick suggestion for you right here. Don't put dialogue on the cover! I mean, it's not like comic books are a visual medium or anything. I know I don't read comics much. You guys can tell by the little Spawn mix-up I had last episode, so I shouldn't really be giving advice on how to write a comic book. Hell, just talking about the cover is the hardest part of the review for me. Still, I honestly can't think of a single thing the characters in a comic book can say on a cover that will make me want to buy it. Keep in mind that because of limited space, they most likely won't be able to get more than 6 words out. I should be seeing a scene or a picture that tells me that this comic is worth reading. Putting one-liners on the cover just make it come off as lame and annoying. Although, to its credit, it does tell me exactly what to expect. Today's issues, as well as the previous issues, were written by Mike Gallagher. He's got to do with what's wrong with his comic, but I'll get to him in a later episode. Or, previous episode? Sonic the Hedgehog, I know everything about you, stalker, and I've used this information to create the ultimate evil robot, the Urkelbot 9000, now with 5 times the social awkwardness. No, it's Sato Sonic, a robot version of Sonic that Robotnik created, and this one's got an attitude. For sure. On the real. I'll stop now. So we cut to Sonic abusing Antoine, only to fall victim to instant karma. While picking flowers for Sally, he learns from a passing butterfly, yes, a butterfly, that he's actually been rolling around and get this, poison ivy. You'd think that someone who lived in the forest for most of their lives would be able to tell what's a flower and what's poison ivy, but I guess Sonic's just a moron. You'd also think that when you see someone waiting around in poison ivy, you'd immediately tell them it's frackin' poison ivy. But maybe that's just a really douchey butterfly. So after constant scratching, Sonic gets bloated and turns into Sonic the Hut. As we jump back to Sato Sonic approaching Antoine. Obviously not being able to see the metallic finish and bolts sticking out of the robot, probably from Youngblood's disease, Antoine opens up the entrance to Naho and lets Sato Sonic in. Thus, the first part ends with the team immediately seeing that the robot is not Sonic. Also, Bunny's hair salon, what the hell? The second part begins with Sato Sonic contacting Robotnik, telling him he's found Neto. I crisscrossed the Great Forest at super speed until I spotted Antoine and easily duped him into revealing the entrance. So the plan was to run around the Great Forest and hope he runs into a freedom fighter, dumb enough to think he's the real Sonic? Foolproof! So Sato Sonic started to give Robotnik their coordinates to Naho, because, you know, the freedom fighters are powerless to keep him from doing otherwise, but Tails creates a field of static electricity around him, shutting the robot out. This also causes the robot to blow up for some reason. I didn't know the amount of electricity you'd find in a sweater could strike out a robot and make it explode, but, you know, live and learn, I guess. The comic also makes it a point to tell you that this is the issue where they changed Boomer's name to Rotor, as it was in the original cartoon. See, before the comic was in production, Sega gave Archie a peek at the characters they were developing for the show and suggested they use them. At this point, Rotor was named Boomer, Sally had the ponytail hairstyle, a style you only see in the first episode of the cartoon, but changed to the red hair right after, and Bunny wasn't even thought up yet. They were dark times. I still have nightmares. So Robotnik takes the Sato moron to his workshop to examine him while Sally wonders what happened to real Sonic. We then jump back to Sonic furiously scratching himself from the poison ivy. A more constructive activity compared to what he usually does when he's by himself. So we see Sonic trying to make his way back to Knot-Hole, but not before Robotnik finds him crawling around on the ground, defenseless. I finally found Sonic defenseless, and oh my god, he's doing that thing he does when he thinks no one's around and... Oh, wait, no, he's just scratching himself. Much more productive. We then jump back to Rotor, examining Sonic, and he tells the team what he's found out from examining the robot. No doubt about it, this was manufactured by Robotnik. Cut back to Sonic once more, and we see Robotnik firing on Sonic with his flamethrower. How did he miss? He wasn't moving! You're finished, Sonic. Now I'm going to drop my amazing load on you. Ew. Hey, wait a minute. Don't you mean amazing load? Oh, come on, Mike. Now you're getting your own puns wrong. But then Bunny intervenes, blasting Robotnik's floating thing, picking Robotnik up, jumping 20 stories into the air, and tossing him back to Robotropolis. Does anyone else find it weird how Bunny seems to have 5 times the normal strength of a normal SWAT bot? Then Bunny jumps down in front of Sonic and gives him some ointment for his rash out of one of her— Oh, bullcrap! She's half super fighting robot, and I half Inspector Frackin' Gadget. So the story ends with them walking back to Knot-Hole, and for some reason they decided not to tell him what happened while he was gone to, I don't know, be ironic or something. Nothing in this comic makes sense. The next story, called What's the Point?, features Sonic running around the forest trying to find a present for Sally for her birthday. Because as we all know, he's the fastest thing alive! He comes across a weird half-porcupine, half-bird type creature called the Mobian Needlebird with an injured wing. He feeds it some berries and decides to give the mangy thing to Sally for her birthday. Sally loves animals. I'll name you Thorny and give you to Sally for her birthday. She'll be so happy. Soon, you get that flying cactus plant out of here right now, comma, Sonic. Well, fine then, you ungrateful bitch. But Sal, poor little Thorny, is injured and can't protect himself from Robotnik and the Badniks. How can you be so cruel? Cruel? May I remind you, Sonic, of some of the other cute little animals we found in the forest? Like the beaver who turned out to be a vicious robot designed by Robotnik? Turned out to be. Was there any question? Or the squirrel who was wearing a tracking device? A most inconspicuous tracking device, I might add. Or the baby deer who turned out to be a bomb baiter? A baiter is not a thing. We freedom fighters can't afford to take any more pets. It's too petrifying. After Sally finishes that little exposition, Sonic realizes that Thorny has wandered off and over to Sally's needleberry birthday cake. Why would you want a birthday cake filled with needles if it's beyond me? But Sally gets all bitchy about it and makes Sonic throw it out of Knot-Hole. Sally then decides to pick some more painful berries for her cake by herself, and in the process, she surprisingly gets attacked by a giant tree. This tree was a trap set up by Robotnik, and considering his path machines, this one is probably the best at being inconspicuous, seeing as it actually, looks like a tree. Except for the eyes and teeth. I'm gonna skip the panel where Sonic lists off all the bad tree puns for the sake of my own sanity, and just move on to the part where he confronts the damn tree. So Sonic starts running around looking for Sally, and almost gets caught by the same tree that gets Sally, but then Thorny comes to the rescue! I guess his wing was healed by the magical powers of Deus Ex Machina! With Thorny's help, Sonic finds the tree that kidnapped Sally, and does battle with it. And by battle, I mean he saws right through the hand that's holding Sally, and for some reason that completely dismantles it. What were his brains in that hand? Doesn't he still have a good one? And those sharp teeth, what about those? But before Sonic can free Sally from the hand, Robotnik comes in with his freeze blaster to ice Sonic. Yeah! These puns are starting to get into my mind! I don't get the point in making it a freeze ray instead of the standard blaster that's normally around, seeing as how Robotnik never even gets to use it. Thorny, once again, comes to the rescue! This time dropping eggs on Robotnik's head, which counts as an abortion to a bird, and firing needles into his posterior. For some reason, Robotnik decides to not put up more of a fight against the little freak of nature, and runs away. As a reward for Thorny's behavior, they make him an honorary member of the Freedom Fighters. Oh joy, I'm sure Thorny will be a useful member of the team and partake in many hilarious hijinks. Oh well. Well, that was Sonic the Hedgehog, issue 9, and boy boy do these comics continue to waste my time. This issue does nothing special. It was dumb and annoying, and we have time for one more. Actually, the next issue was in Archives 3. I better go pick it up. The cover with issue 10 is... I don't even know. It has Sonic frozen and standing in a picture frame that Crabmeat is holding up, with a freeze frame and text around it. A few questions come to mind here. Why is Crabmeat holding a picture frame? What exactly does Robotnik plan on doing? And why couldn't Robotnik actually be firing the Sonic with a freeze gun in the cover? Jeez, Mike, you're sacrificing logic for a bad pun. That shouldn't be happening. Actually, I have the answer for that last one. Because it would be insinuating that the freeze ray, or frost ray, would actually appear in today's comic. Which, it doesn't. It's like Mike realized Robotnik never got to use the gun at the end of the last issue, so he makes a pun about it here. So this comic begins with Sonic setting off landmines so it'll be safe for Rotor to dig up an electrical cable. How do they know there's a cable out there? Frack if I know! So Rotor finds two cables and, relying on blind luck, chooses one to disconnect. Doing so, however, causes a force field to form around them. I knew they should have snapped that cable 20 feet to the right of where they were standing. Trapped in the field with no way out, SWATbots start to approach them. But then some little thing pops out of the ground. Yipes! Who are you? I'm the nerd. Not that's any of your business. Seeing the hole the nerd dug, the freedom fighters take it as a chance to escape, much to the displeasure of the nerd. They force themselves down there anyway and end up in the nerd neighborhood. Did not even notice the stupid spelling until just now. Seeing how their new guests are a tad antisocial, Sally asks why the Nerbs have been so unfriendly towards them. We Nerbs have lived in peace for centuries here on the ground on planet Mobius, and mixing with outsiders can only lead to trouble. Not to mention athlete's foot. Well, that makes sense. Wait, what? That's not a good explanation. That's not a good explanation at all. If they've been down there for centuries, then how do they know that conversing with outsiders can lead to trouble? How do they know it can lead to anything? And mixing with outsiders can only lead to trouble. Ew. Okay then, I agree. It's probably best that you don't mix with outsiders. The nerds also explain how because of Robotnik's digging underground, their air vents and water supply are being threatened. So Sonic suggests that they team up to stop Robotnik once and for all. Yeah, the nerds can use their, vast knowledge of Star Trek to defeat him. The King Nerb, however, seeing this as a dating invitation, strongly refuses. The Nerbs mix with outsiders? Never! No, dude, we want to fight. We want to fight against Robotnik with you. We don't want to date you. Show them the way back to the surface. Forget it, dude. We'll find our own way out. We'll traverse this complicated series of tunnels by ourselves. Hours later, the team finally come across a door. Sonic sees the initials on the door and, recognizing them, sees it as their way out and opens up the door by doing his spin. I'd also like to point out that this is the way a Sonic spin should look. You'll see what I mean in the future. It turns out the door stands for Mobius Sewer System, and Sonic recognizes the door because he used to play in them as a kid. Ew, girl Sonic, why would you ever want to play in the sewer? But then they start hearing shrieks and cries for help down the tunnel, and Sonic decides to go in by himself to investigate. Yeah, leave the cybernetic bunny behind for her own protection. I'm sure she'll just get in the way. Sonic gets to the other side and sees Robotnik driving some kind of device that I swear was stolen from Team Rocket. He also sees that he's caught 3 Nerbs in the force field. Help! Let us out of here! But don't talk to us! Okay, that is pretty funny. But before Sonic can do anything about the Nerbs, Robotnik starts attacking Sonic. I'm glad you've joined us underground. This is where hedgehogs belong, and where you're going to stay. Yo, Robotnik! Oh, new one, I like it. I'll make it easy for you. Try to get me. I'll stand perfectly still. Not! Oh, snap! He just did the not joke! Sonic is so witty in his banter. Ha! Robotnik must feel like such an idiot right now because he fell for the not joke. Missing Sonic causes him to hit the force field and let the Nerbs free. Sonic tells him to leave, but for some odd reason they don't see the immediate danger and decide to be difficult. So Sonic throws him into a wheelbarrow and trucks them back through the tunnel towards the freedom fighters. Again, much to the displeasure of the Nerbs. He tells the rest of the team to take the Nerbs back to their home and to close the door tight as he runs off back in the other direction. He eventually comes across what he was looking for, the door to the Mobius River. I'm not entirely sure how often people have doors leading to their rivers and their underground passageways, so I'm not going to press this too much, but I'm going to assume that's not very often. So Sonic buzzes his way through the door to open it, and the water comes rushing through, causing him to have to outrun the water. Ignoring the pointless cameo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Sonic finds that from the excitement of running away from the water, or maybe his own stupidity, he can't remember his way back to the exit. And seeing how Sonic's spin won't save him, he decides to do his supersonic spin to barrel through the ground and reach the surface. Crash Bandicoot powers, away! So Robotnik has been kept from digging underground, and it looks like the Nerbs have had a change of heart, as the King declares the Freedom Fighters honorary Nerbs, complete with Nerb Tower, much to the displeasure of the Freedom Fighters. The next story begins with the Freedom Fighters floating around in a hot air balloon, looking for a place for the annual picnic. Wait, where did they get a hot air balloon? As far as I know, the Freedom Fighters have to build all their own equipment. At least Rotor does. Why do you build a hot air balloon? Well, it seems to be for Antoine, as he remembers being head of balloons for the King of Mobius. Antoine, the last time you saw the King, you were 5. And that's not even the King! I am certain the hot air balloon can be a big help to us in the fight against evil Robotnik and his Batniks. Yes, the hot air balloon, truly a weapon of ultimate aerial destruction! But as the team is flying around, a couple of buzz bombers spot them and decide to sneak up on them and pop the balloon. They land in a tree and Antoine yells curses at the 2 robot bees, and everyone else yells at Antoine, blaming their lack of attention on him. Face it, Twan, your balloon is a big bust. I knew this was a flop! An old-fashioned balloon has no place in the world of high-tech robots, Antoine. It's the Fridge's fault! It's always his fault! Never mind the fact that we weren't paying attention, it's his fault anyway! But Antoine is not discouraged and declares that the balloon will rise again. Back in Robotropolis, the Buzz Bombers are reporting back to Robotnik about the balloon. You say the Freedom Fighters were riding in the balloon, and you destroyed the balloon, but you failed to capture them. Wow, what natural-sounding dialogue. Not! See, I can do it too. Sorry, your beastliness, but, well, you see, Robotnik, Larry here had a cramp in his leg stinger. And I'm coming down with the robot flu that everyone is getting, and I don't think we were really equipped to do much more than wreck their stuff. Silence, you incompetent insects. Well, sheesh, maybe you took better care of us, we'd like to do more things for you. Snippy deduces that, according to their Freedom Fighter Fact Finder, also known as Magic MacGuffin, they must have been looking for a place to hold their annual picnic. Where did they even get that information? Let's invite ourselves to this year's picnic. We'll provide the antics. That wouldn't have even been funny if he was attacking with an army of giant robotic ants. Which, he's not. What is that? 3 puns he's gotten wrong in the span of 2 issues? The next day, Tails spots Antoine and asks if he's coming to the picnic. But Antoine says he's too ashamed from what transpired the last day, and decides to try to fix the balloon to prove that both him and the balloon are not useless. At the picnic, everyone doesn't seem to notice that Antoine, along with the rest of Knothill Village for that matter, is missing. Maybe it's a private picnic for the Freedom Fighters that have names. And then Robotnik with his robots start to attack. Huh. Using that in picking a location, they choose a place that'd be hard for Robotnik to find. But then, with the help of Deus Ex Machina repair skills that he did not previously have, Antoine comes flying in on a balloon and uses his large arsenal of mud and buckets and sandbags filled with explosives to destroy them. This causes the robots to flee. Not buying that, and Antoine shows his incredible strength as he lifts Robotnik up in the air by his cape and then drops him in a lake. Now, I gotta give this story points for making Antoine actually appear useful for once. In the cartoon, they seem to take every chance to make him appear whiny and annoying, and his character never seemed to evolve past that. Considering that these are just one-shot stories, he's most likely going to go right back to the way he was before, but the possibility of him being able to change is still nice. And I gotta admit, I kind of like the story with the Nerbs, so this comic is one of the better early ones, but not by much. The puns and downright bad dialogue still get in the way of this comic being really good. And that's the end of issue 10. Until next time year, I'm your main man, the Sandman, and this was the Sonic Comic Retrospective. I'll see you guys later.
I'm on a blimp. I'm on a blimp. Everybody look at me, cause I'm dueling on a blimp. I'm on a blimp. I'm on a blimp. Take a good hard look at the mother blimp. I'm on a blimp, mother in the sky. Straight pimping on a blimp, and I'm so high. Yugi Moto wears clothes like a gimp. He can't stop me and my minions, cause I'm on a blimp.